Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm MentorJessica and I am recording my journey on Carnivore. So this has been the 5th week that I've been on Carnivore. I started July 1st and this last week has been interesting because I was on vacation. So I'm sharing my results of how this week went after being on vacation. It was a very active vacation, but I feel I had good results. I had a lot of temptations as people eating around me. There were some extra people that showed up that I wasn't expecting. So this is week 5 of after vacation. All right, so as I said, I had a few struggles because I had people eating ice cream in the evening. I had all kinds of different beverages, and one of my goals was I was not going to drink alcohol. If I did, I was going to limit myself. Well, I didn't drink, so great job there. I struggled. I love ice cream. So having all the different ice creams around me and cones was a struggle, but I stayed away. My biggest thing was my coffee in the morning. I was one of the first ones up, and apparently I was the only one that could figure out how to make work the coffee pot. So I was making coffee each morning, and we ended up with like 4 or 5 pots of coffee between there was anywhere from 8 to 12 of us. So that was my temptation. I had a couple cups of coffee each day, which isn't horrible. Normally, if I was at home a couple months ago, I was drinking a pot a day. I'm just trying to wean myself off, so I'm not drinking as much. But I did drink more than I have in the last month. So that wasn't so bad. Then the pizza came. So I did go off track, and I had 2 small slices of pizza. But I was expecting to have a worse reaction than I did. I tested my ketones. I brought my ketone tester with me and was testing my ketones each day. And I was in ketosis during my whole vacation. So that also helped me. For me, I need to track things. And that helped me stay on track, knowing that even after I had those 2 small slices of pizza, the next morning I was still in ketosis. So I'm like, okay, I didn't just completely throw myself into the ditch and went off track. I am still making progress. So I was thrilled about that. Now, I was eating more times a day because I was the people that were eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between, and I was picking up and eating more often than I normally would, even if I wasn't hungry, because some of those times we had excursions we were going on. So I didn't know when, if I skipped breakfast, I didn't know when I was going to eat next. And there were several times where we'd get up, have breakfast at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're having lunch at 3 and 4 in the afternoon because we went out for a boat ride or went on a tour, and we weren't expecting the tours to be 2 hours long, and we couldn't get in and get signed up for that tour right away. So there was a lot of, I'm not sure, based off of the previous day, I'm not sure when I'm going to eat next. I don't know if I want to skip breakfast. And then I wasn't sure if when we're having lunch at 2, 3 in the afternoon, I'm like, I'm not sure if we're actually going to have supper, which most of the time they did. And I would skip supper at that moment because I just wasn't hungry, and I knew I was going to have breakfast the next morning. All right. So as far as my results go, after all of that, I gained 1 pound, which no big deal. I still lost half an inch this last week, which anytime I gain weight, I usually lose inches. So and knowing that I did a lot more eating than I normally did. I'm happy with those results. Like, it's not like one of those times where I would go on vacation and gain 5 or 10 pounds. I gained 1. I consider that successful. I even had a slice, just 2 small slices of pizza, where in the past, if I would have had a slice of pizza, I know because it's happened several times where I have a slice of pizza and I gained 5 pounds. And I'm like, what in the world? It was only 1 slice. How can I get that far off track? So that kept me motivated. Different people, like, I know different people are like, you don't need to measure, you don't need to measure this, you don't need to measure that. I do, for my own sake. So I measure my ketones, especially while doing this challenge, to help keep me motivated. Because if I would have had those slices of pizza and I wouldn't have been able to know that I was still in ketosis that next morning, I would have assumed I'd gone off track and I would have probably given in to all the ice cream and snacks and treats that were available to me. But since I measured, now that, again, this is for me. For me, measuring helps me stay on track. And it's helping me progress. And I know I was counting my, I was logging my food, but I know I wasn't getting all the brands and this and that. And so I know my calories and stuff aren't accurate for that, but, and I know I had how many different comments. I came back from vacation with how many different comments about you don't need to track any of that. Thing is, I do. Otherwise, I know myself. You might not have to track, but I need to, because I know I won't feel hungry, or if I wait, I won't feel very hungry, and I will go a week or even 2 weeks with averaging 300 to 500 calories a day, and then I will binge, and I need to prevent that. So that is why I track. Depending on you, if tracking is a hassle, you don't have to track. I like to track when I'm trying something new, just to make sure I'm getting the intake that I need in order to function. So that is why I track. Not necessarily that you have to track. And I know different comments were telling me different doctors and who to listen to on YouTube. Hey, I listen to those guys on YouTube. I've been there, but they also tell you, you are in charge of your own body. You know yourself better. So for me, not everyone, if tracking is a hassle, don't do it. But for me, I need to track something. Otherwise, I'm making assumptions. So that is why I track. And I like to do these challenges where I track for that reason. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not saying everyone needs to track, but I am the type of person that can stay on task if I'm tracking myself. Otherwise, if I have nothing to measure and I'm getting frustrated, I don't know. If you don't measure, you don't know what you're doing wrong. You could be thinking you're doing great. Just like I thought I wasn't eating very much sugar until I started tracking like several years ago. And you track it for a few weeks and you realize, oh, I let all these other things sneak in that I didn't realize I was having. There are times you may have to track, so don't get on me about tracking. I track for myself. I'm not saying everyone out there needs to track. And if you're just getting started on this journey, no, you probably don't need to track. But after 10 years of doing this, I know enough about myself. I need to track occasionally. And since I started Carnivore, I'm tracking just to see when I'm not feeling well, I have something to look back on. And that was under eating. It was my own fault. And that is why I tracked my calories. And that is why I do my food logs and was going back looking at the calories. And it was when I was talking about my protein goals. Those are my protein goals. I'm not saying everyone needs to have those same protein goals, but I have noticed that I need more protein because otherwise I'm not getting enough. And that's just on different research that I've done. And my fasting, I'm not forcing myself to fast. I'm doing every one of these challenges in a true fast. So I know a lot of people were commenting and did not listen to the full videos just off of what they were saying, but that's not what I wanted to come back to from vacation. Several comments that had complete opposite of what I was saying. So I wanted to make that clear. Apparently I need to do this in every single video. But that's why I do it. And I know my tracking wasn't 100% right on while on vacation, but I also have notes. I know when I'm on vacation, I know I'm doing my best tracking, trying to get as accurate as I can. But my measurements and going through measurements, I do that for me because I need to know what happened, where I went wrong. If I'm feeling like crap, is there something that I added in or was doing or wasn't doing? It's a lot easier if it's tracked versus just trying to go on memory of what happened this last week or the last 2 weeks. So do I suggest tracking when you're starting something new? I do, because if you're not tracking something, you don't know what is making you feel better or what's making you feel worse. So that's my little tidbit on tracking and my results. I didn't have a whole lot of change, but I was eating a lot more than I was previously, and I was probably getting just about as much activity in as I normally do. And being completely out of routine in a different place with different sleeping patterns was another thing that was a little off. I think I was up an hour or two earlier every single day than I normally am, and I was going to bed later at night, so I wasn't getting as much sleep either. And that could be part of the reason wasn't having the weight loss or interest loss as well, having that extra stress and not getting that sleep. Although the bed was comfortable, when I hit that bed, I was out. And most of the nights I didn't move all night. And then I'd wake up early. So when I slept, I had a nice, good, deep sleep. But again, it's just a different environment. So we'll see how week 6 goes, and we'll go from there. So that's what happened while I was on vacation. I gained 1 pound and lost half an inch, and I'm good with that. So I thank you for being here, and all of you that have subscribed to my videos. Thank you again. I was just blown away by the number of people that have been watching my videos and subscribing while I was on vacation. I came back just blown away. So I thank you for joining me on this journey, and let me know, are you on this carnivore journey as well? Are you doing keto? What brought you here, and what made you subscribe? Because I would really like to know if you're on the journey with me, or if you're just thinking about it and not sure what this is. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me. Go ahead, subscribe, comment below, and let me know what brought you here and what's your journey look like. I love reading those comments. Thanks.